Yeah, very good morning to Blaine and morning to our viewers once again. I can tell you, Blaine, that it's quite an anxious time for political parties here in KwaZulu Natal. And the numbers coming in a bit slower than they are expecting. We can see some of them have been pacing up and down, hoping that those numbers would be coming in a little bit faster. But of course, Blaine, that is largely due to the challenges that were experienced on voting day here in KwaZulu Natal. As you know, we've been reporting quite extensively on the demonstrations that took place yesterday, and many of the stations opening later than they should, and in other areas we saw voters boycotting yesterday's election. But let's get to it. Obviously today it is about the political parties. They've had long and hard campaigns, and now they're awaiting the results. Let me bring in now the Democratic Alliance, and we have the leader of the Democratic Alliance in the province of KwaZulu Natal, Ayanda Mhlongo. Mr. Mhlongo, thank you very much for your time. We didn't get an opportunity to chat with you yesterday, but just to get, how did you see the election? There were certain challenges that took place. Just very briefly, take us through what you felt yesterday, any issues that you picked up.
Yeah, morning to you, and morning to the viewers at home. One must say, yes, there were challenges. We are disappointed with the IEC this time around, and I think one have expected better. 25 years of democracy, after running so many elections, they should have improved the system. There are so many discrepancies that we've seen in different parts of KZN, but we've laid complaints with the IEC. We are hoping that IEC will investigate those complaints and really give us feedback. I know there's a meeting now with PLC members. Then I'm hoping from there we'll know exactly what IEC plan to do with those complaints. But overall, I think now is a moment of truth. People have spoken. We have to keep seeing the screen. Obviously, it's coming very slowly, but for us, the DA, I think we are a bit excited. Reason being, we see some growth, especially in rural areas where we never had footprint before, and we see that steady growth, which is very interesting for us. And I have no doubt that as the day goes by, things will change for more better. But at the moment, we are happy with what we see. But as I said, we have to wait for IEC to tell us exactly what they plan to do with those complaints.
Just speaking about the results, and we must say the last time you and I were checking, only 13 of the VDs had been counted, so we're still very much a long way to go in terms of those results. But at the moment, the IFP, it seems just ahead. You've wanting to ensure that you wanted to maintain at least your being the main opposition here in the province. Do you think that you will still be able to retain that position?
No, we're not shaken at all. As I said, these results are actually coming from traditionally IFP strongholds and some ANC strongholds. But what is very interesting is, before, if you compare, the DA is growing to most of the VDs that already counted already. So it tells you that if you haven't counted some of the areas like Umsunduz, you haven't seen anything from Umsunduz, nothing from eThekwini, there's a long way to go. We have no doubt that we'll definitely come higher than the IFP end of the count. But we are positive with the results, and we are excited. But as I said, part of the challenge is we can't really now complain about IEC, yes. But we are hoping IEC will resolve those issues. But at the moment, as a DA, we see some growth. In Umhlathuze, for example, we are currently leading even above the ANC. But obviously, it's because some VDs which are counted might have really shown support from the DA. But as time goes by, it's also going to change. But we are excited from what we see in terms of ZN perspective. But we'll see as time goes by.
Zwagala, another thing that you raised with us yesterday, between you and I when we were talking, you were quite unhappy about the numbers of people that had actually come out to the voting stations. And also, I suppose, adding to that, these demonstrations may have also put off people who had intended to go and cast their votes.
Look, turnout is concerning, but more concerning is voter education. When you've got people on a voting day decide to protest and burn tires, block roads, it's a problem because they deny other people's rights to go and cast their vote. We'll expect that people know better that in democracy you protest by using your ballot box. You go there and vote out current government, you get help with services from that government. So it's unfortunate, which is a challenge also to us as political parties to IEC to say, before election or in between elections, what do we do to educate our nation, to ensure that everyone understands the power of their vote? Because the fact that people can protest on a voting day against current government but not going to go and vote, decide to block roads, it's a challenge. It shows lack of understanding on how democracy works, because when people understand democracy, they know very well that they have to mobilize other people to go and cast their vote against current government, instead of mobilizing people to block roads and end up avoiding other people to come and vote. I think it's unfortunate we see what we see today, but I'm hoping that IEC can really observe and take challenge. Also, as political leaders, also we must take this further, take responsibility to ensure that we educate our people how really democracy works.
All right. So, Agale, thank you very much for your time. We're going to leave it here for now. I know we'll be catching up with you as the day goes on. We have said that results were still way away, and more results are expected to come in. And we're looking forward to the eThekwini Metro, which is likely going to bring a sizable amount of these votes. Let me now ask the IFP. Joining me now is the treasurer of the IFP, Mr. Naren Singh. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for joining us. Just to follow up on Mr. Mhlongo's last point with regards to yesterday, the demonstrations, a lot of the political parties that we're speaking to quite upset, have this feeling that the demonstrations yesterday ended up preventing people who had wanted to go and cast their votes that opportunity, denying them that democratic right, and thus the figures that we have now, the turnout not looking so good in KwaZulu Natal.
No, thank you, Ayanda, for having us. No, we are also very disturbed about these disturbances that took place, because, as you quite rightly say, it prevented people who wanted to exercise their right to make their mark not to be able to go to the voting stations. And we had made some appeals to some of these demonstrators that if they wanted to protest against the current councillor that they have, then the way to do it was to go to the ballot box and vote for some other party. And that would have been a sure way of them indicating that we are fed up with the kind of rule or the kind of councillor that we have in our respective ward. So it's very, very unfortunate that happened. I think some of it could have been prevented if intelligence was good enough. I don't know to what extent SAP's intelligence were on top of these issues before they happened.
Let's move on to the results now, but of course, as we had said, we're still trickling in very slowly here in KwaZulu Natal in terms of our votes coming through. The last we checked, we're probably now around 14 or so of the VDs that have been counted and declared. You're looking good so far. Looking at the numbers, you're at second, but as I said, things can change. Your comments so far. You ran a very strong campaign at this time. You're very sure that if you do not want to take, particularly in KwaZulu Natal, you had your eyes set on improving here in this province.
No, we're certainly going to improve. The numbers are looking good, but as you say, there's a long way to go, and it's never over till the fat lady sings. But we'll wait and see. We'll live in hope, and we're hoping to improve. The metros are still to come in, and that could change things a bit. But then, of course, on the other hand, the outlying areas are also yet to come in. And from all indications we have, there were huge turnout in areas like Mkanyaguda, King Ketchwayo, and other areas up north. So we'll just wait and see, and I'm sure you'll call me back again to see how we're doing.
Your campaign was, of course, focused on regaining your support that had been lost since 2011. You focused very much in the more your strongholds, previous strongholds, rural parts of KwaZulu Natal. You had your party agents in the various voting stations. I'm sure they've been able to feed you some information. How have you fared?
We have been receiving results, and like I say, some of the results that we are getting at our own offices look good, but they're only as good as when they are officially counted by the IEC. And, one of the things that we were a bit concerned about was the Section 24 voting. I think the IEC, over all these years, they could have found a better way of ensuring that there were checks and balances to prevent people from moving to one station to another. But however, we're keeping our eye on it, because we will see what the audits show. And if there are alarming figures at some stations of number of Section 24 votes, and obviously we will query that with the IEC.
just want to let you, before I let you go, Mr. Singh, we heard that Nkosimangosutu Buthelezi had previously said that he would possibly be stepping down after this election. Now hearing that he is going to be returning back to Parliament?
He's never said that he would not return to Parliament. He said that he would step down as leader of the party, and I think there's a difference. There's a huge difference in that. Once we have our conference, he would not stand for re-election as president of the party. But being the number one on the National Assembly list, it's incumbent of him to take up his seat and then decide after that what he wants to do. But we've left that decision to him.
So he's still yet to, is it confirmed, depending on your numbers, he will return to Parliament?
He will definitely return, because as we look at the national numbers, there are enough seats, votes that we have gained for him to be in. He's number one on our list, and so he's in.
All right, Mr. Singh. As you said, we'll catch up with you later as more of the results come in. So thank you very much for your time. We're going to leave it there, Blaine, and back to you in studio.
Ayanda Mhlongo, thank you very much indeed for your reporting, coming to us live from the KZN Rock, the Results Operations Centre. Let me bring